Greetings, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, can you hear me? Okay, so, I am Helsing Gray here, taking a brief moment out of my day and really busy schedule to share something. So, there's this really cool guy named Evan Carmichael. He does these videos where he says the top 10 of these famous and powerful people. And he did this one video on the founder of Spanx. And it was awesome. And she has a beautiful name. And her name is... Put it right there. Oh, Gerard, do you hear that? So now, what happened is... What happened? In her video, his video, the video, she said, her father said, during dinner time, her pops would ask, hey, so what have you failed at today? Because in their house, failure was looked at very differently. Failure was looked at as a good thing because it means you're actually trying something new. It means you're actually branching out and doing something. And if they didn't have anything that they failed at, then her dad was a little dismayed. He's like, you did nothing? You failed at nothing? Did you? Now, coming back. So her father's like, well, you fail at nothing? Come on, you gotta do something. And that idea, the way she said it, maybe it was like the tone of her voice or something, but it sank into my mind. And it was like a domino effect. And it affected a lot of other things swimming around in there. And I realized, I said, hey, she has a point. Her father has a point. What have you failed at lately? And then that combined with these other things, these thoughts are going on in my head. They were saying something like, if you get up in the morning and go for it, you're winning. If you choose not to get up in the morning. Where's the pause button? There's a pause button! 当我们手给了春天到了，雪人化成了水，长出了一片新奇的叶子，这应该就是。Okay, the message is finally over. So, back to my message. Her father said, what have you failed at lately, today? And she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And her pops is like, if you have failed at nothing, then you have done nothing. Or something like that. So in any case, I asked myself, what have I failed at? And then that brought me to these other voices that are going like blah, 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 blah in my ear because I looked at, Dr. E.T., Dr. E.T., the man is phenomenal. etinspires.com. etinspires.com. Due to change your life. So, I was part of the 30-day challenge. And in there, we had to write down stuff we had to do to, basically, I had no idea there's so much background noise here. There are things we had to do in order to succeed and accomplish our goals. And we'd have like a percentage every day of how much we accomplished and all that. And when you put things in such a quantitative form, we can literally see the percentage of your success in that day. You start to become acutely aware. I mean acutely aware. Acutely aware of your success or lack thereof in terms of how much effort you're putting in. Then you start to look at the list of things you have to do that day and you're like, wait a second. You check off the things you did do and you look at the things you didn't do and look at your percentage and you're like, why didn't I do X, Y, and Z? Was I physically incapable of doing it? Mentally incapable of doing it? Was it just did something come out of nowhere and blindside me? Most of the time, you'll find that the reason you didn't do the things you had to do is because of you. Not me. Not the people outside. Not your racist grandpa or your grandma that gave you the chili that made your butts get all bubbly. You are the reason. And I looked at me and I realized I am the reason that I failed. So that book, his 30-day challenge, put this seed in my mind, kind of like Inception, put the seed in my mind, and it's like, hey, the times that I didn't succeed, I didn't fail. I was actually choosing not to succeed because I was choosing not to do those things I really had to do. Message, highlight that part. So, when it comes to Spanx, the founder of Spanx, her pops, what did you fail at today? I realized there's a drastic difference between failing and choosing not to win. Here's an example. You wanna date some hot Chinese girl, or Korean, or Japanese, or whatever Asian girl out there. You wanna date this hot Asian girl at your school. So you're like, oh my gosh, she's so hot. Ah. What do? Well, you can take a chance, walk up and say hi, and the first time you might be like, hello there. And she'll be like, oops. And you'll be like, my eyes. And it might not go so well, but you'd have learned. You'd have learned from that failure, and you'd have gone better the next time. That never happened to me, thankfully. I'm very much more smoother than that. Though, an example of choosing to lose would be, you see that hot girl. You're like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Oh, if I go up and talk to her, she might think I'm stupid. Oh my gosh. And so then you don't talk to her. And then that's actually choosing not to fail. The results look the same, but the underlying energy is very different. Because in choosing not to fail, that doesn't really lead you to success. But in choosing to fail, that doesn't lead you to success. But in actual failing, it leads you to success. Because then you're like, okay, when you actually failed, you can look at the results. You can say, okay, why did I fail? I walked up. I was kind of looking like Quasimodo, like, oh, hello, and that might have scared her. So next time, I'll approach with more confidence. I'll say, hello there. I see you're a student at XYZ College. I am too. What's your major, darling? And then it gets better. You get better every time. And next thing you know, you walk up and say, hey, what's going on? Bada bing, bada bam, bada boom. And she's like, oh, who's this nice young man? And then boom, you got a WeChat or Kakao or Line or whatever the kids use these days to communicate. They still use Line, right? Or is that like 1980s? It doesn't matter. So, here's what's going on. That's the difference between failing and choosing to lose. I'll put it to you one more time. Failing is when you give it your absolute best. You actually look at what you want to do and you write out to the best of your knowledge and ability what you need to do it. What you need to do to accomplish that goal. You have a meeting, a presentation, you prepare properly. And you give it your best. And if you win, smashing! And if you don't win, you totally bomb, still smashing! Because you can learn from it and continue to grow like a plant. Like evolution, the evolution of you. However, if you sit back and you're like, I don't know if it's going to go well. They might not like my presentation. I'm not even going to try. And then that like sucks. And then that's actually choosing to lose. And that's not good. So there's a drastic difference between failure and choosing to lose. So, I ask you, my friends, what have you failed at today? And if you haven't actually failed at anything, I might challenge you to raise your sights a bit higher and aim for something a bit further than your reach that causes you to stretch. That causes you to pull something deeper out of yourself. Wow, this video has been 8 minutes. Oh my gosh. Can I upload an 8-minute video? I think I can. But can I do it on WeChat? Nah, that's the problem. In any case, that's what I have for you today. Failure versus choosing to lose. Choose wisely.